Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week we got something pretty exciting. We received our first 2024 Subaru Crosstrek redesign, upfit changes, not a total from ground up redesign, but some intricate changes that will impact the way the car looks, the way you operate, some of the features inside, versus the 2023 Subaru Crosstrek. Okay guys, first thing right off the bat, looking at the front fascia, the actual hood and grille and front bumper have been totally redesigned, including the headlights have been totally redesigned. The fascia section, the lower air dam, all of this seamless kind of slope, it kind of made it a little bit more compact front end. The headlights look like they're squinting. When we talk about the 23, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then they added some cool lines into the hood. So you'll see this big hard fall off and then just this little line that runs all the way around the center of the hood. Just a few things on the 2024. There is a lot more cladding that was added into the front bumper. I myself like a painted front fascia and front bumper. We'll talk about that when we get to the back as well. These grooves here in this insert, you can kind of see the rubber bumper protecting behind it. I'm not sure that's protecting the radiator as well, this kind of foam from flying up rocks or whatever else might come in. And so I think that this kind of changed the actual way the car looks to me. I don't know why there had to be so many holes. The actual logo is a little bit larger than it will be on the 23. And I don't like that there's already 3 holes drilled into the actual painted part. Fog lights have been kind of sunk back in. It is an LED, so it's a little bit clearer. And again, kind of flared out headlight, but it is a little bit less mass of a headlight as you'll see on the 23. Okay guys, so now we're on the 2023 and you can see just a smaller insert obviously into the grille. Again, this one came with the holes that I really don't like, but more massive of a painted bumper than the cladding that came up on the 2024. Obviously, like I said, a bigger headlight, just kind of like flared out as well, but it's wider. It doesn't have the angry eyes is what I consider those headlights to look like. No actual lines that actually match the actual hood on the 24. There still is the indentions, but it's not across the hood. On the 24, that line came down, across and over. Still a fall off into the headlight, wrapped around by the bumper. All of this is painted, where on the 24 it's cladding. And it actually makes the front end look wider on the 23 than the front end on the 24. It kind of looks a little bit more narrow on the new design versus the old design. And then as you come up the hood, it's not as big of a slant right up here. So just a little bit different molded hood on the 24 than the 23. And I don't know that I like all of those lines as well as just something as clean. One thing while we're still in front of the 23, you will notice in the glass the actual EyeSight cameras. This is the old style cameras. They've actually changed it, and we'll talk about that on the 24. These cameras, because they're not up into the glass as you'll see on the 24, they can still get knocked out of line. If someone reached under there and touched the camera, it can get fingerprinted, dirt on it, which will actually make the cameras not function accurately and stop the car and do everything that the EyeSight system does. So one thing though that this does differently than you'll see on the 24, this doesn't take up a lot of the windshield. You're gonna notice on the other car that it's moved all the way down to here, and from the outside looking in, you'll see how much of that small windshield is taken up by the cameras. So as you can see, the EyeSight system is now in this dark black that you see on the windshield. This is how low the cameras come down. So one thing about safety versus this system and the old, this is more safe, but when you're sitting in the driver's seat, you see all of this mounted camera from the inside because of how low and how wide now it comes. But you'll notice, and if we get a close-up from the other side, how this is sealed inside the windshield. So there can't be any dust or any fingerprints or anything like that that can get into it. So it does function and operate a little bit more safely than the old traditional cameras that were in the 23. Now we move around to the side of the 24, and one thing that was added is this wide cladding over the front fender well. Same size tires, not the same distance. This stance looks a little bit lower. Some of it is an optical illusion. We'll talk about that when we stand up. Different alloy wheel than that's on the 23. That comes down to personal preference, which one you like better. Some don't like this big wide cladding. I'm not a fan of it. I like as much body color as you can. Still runs down seamlessly and all the way down the side. Still comes with painted mirrors. This mirror is a redesign, including the attachment. This is a little bit sleeker and smaller. And the mirror design, it looks a little bit more aerodynamic as well. One drastic change that I do not like, and you have to see it from a side panel visual, and Savannah will capture that, is the roof rail. The roof rail is a little bit shorter to the actual car. I don't mind that part. This kind of blunt front end, you'll see the difference on the 23. And as it rolls back, another blunt stop. So from a wide distance view, it looks like it's not finished. Like, why does it stop there? Another thing is that the XM radio fin is now not body colored. It's actually this kind of plastic flat color. I'm not really a fan of that. I wish they would have stayed with the body color. Sunk in, bulky taillight. I do like the way that that flares out. A lot more cladding again on the back bumper. And we'll get to the hatches in just a second. Let's look at the side view of the 23. First, let's talk about what it looks like, the clearance between the tire and actually the molding. It is a little bit, looks like a little bit higher stack. I think it's, I haven't measured it, but I think it's because of the piece of molding is not hanging down as much and it's not as thick. But the car's stance should be the same, just the appearance looks like there's a lot of room here. And so then if you want to just flash right over to this real quick. It just doesn't look like the same clearance. So I think it's because of where the piece of molding comes down, where this one is flush up. So I do like it better, the appearance of the higher stack. Wheel pattern again, it's that brushed black chrome and the stainless. It just depends on what design you like better. This actually, again, seamlessly flows into the bottom. Mirror looks a little bit more blocked off. This is a bigger attachment. No light sunk into here, so I do like the 24 as far as that option. And I do like the sleeker design that's on the actual mirror on the 24. Roof rack. This looks seamless, right? It's sloped down like it finished. It's not as blunt as on the new redesign. I believe this bracket that it sits on is not as bulky as well. And this roof rack gains a little bit of height as it comes by, and then slopes back down to where it looks finished. So I kind of like the roof rack design on the 23 more than the 24. And part of that height appearance is that roof rack that makes it look a little bit taller because of the distance between it. And then you have a huge painted bumper that wraps around. And to me, more of the actual flow of the bumper on the 23 looks better than all of the cheaper cladding. Still has cladding down below, but you don't have that big cladding on the side. So to me, I kind of like that a little bit better. The XM radio, if you get the 23, you can see that it is body colored. And I think that matches actually what it's sitting on better than using just the black cladding like that's done on the new redesign. Now we move to the back. There is one thing on here that I do like. First of all is the two smiley faces that look at you before you have your license plate on. I don't know if that's done on purpose, but to me it looked like it was happy, right? And then I also like this bumper protector that shows kind of a little bit of a pattern, the forest, the mountains, and then that represents water. So I think that's pretty neat as far as what Subaru did. You'll notice on the 24, a whole new light pattern, actually a little bit less of a tail light than what's on the 23. And the reason for that is because this hatch has been slimmed out and narrowed down. They did change, again, this is all cladding down on the bottom. We'll look at the 23 and it's all painted. To me, I just don't like that much cladding. Hatch is still power and still plenty of room. They also put a little bit of a design inside. This is also kind of gridded up so you can see the car, mountains. I think that's a cool touch. Seat protectors on the back, standard in the 24, and I believe it's standard in the 23 as well on the Crosstrek. But room back here, it's not, you're not gonna fit 2 sets of golf clubs or skis or anything in the back. And it'll be the same thing on the 23. On the 23, you'll see the taillight is a little bit bolder. The tailgate is actually not sunk in and cut off. It's actually a little bit more square, so it gives that appearance. Even the lettering, like I said, is actually larger because there was more space, and there was more painted space here as well in the back. There's not that cladding. This is actually body colored with the same actual indentions. There is not a rear bumper protector that comes on standard on the 23. It is just a flat black if you get it as an accessory. Interior space in the back, you can see, same clearance, a lot more tailgate. It's not rounded off and cut about right here. And then again, same kind of cargo space to the naked eye. A couple things on the interior that have changed, and the seat surface has gone to the bulk of the seat being this hold pattern, and a little bit of the seat being this cloth surface. You'll notice in the other one that it's a little bit less, and I don't like this wide space. In the 23, you'll see that it's just this kind of insert. That's this color, and I just think that's a little bit cheap. It doesn't look as elegant or as sturdy as it would in the older model. You'll see a little bit of a carbon fiber kind of design on the door, but the door panel is a lot of plastic. A lot more of that woven kind of fabric. There is a bottle holder in the door. So I think that's pretty intricate in the way that it's molded into the plastic. But a lot of plastic inside the dash as well. One thing that I don't like at all, they did put in the big infotainment screen. I think that's a great upgrade. You'll see the smaller screen, but know that everything is controlled in this screen. There is no knobs or no buttons. So when you're driving, you actually have to go to this screen and push for the air condition. There's a couple of screens you got to cycle through to get the different things. This actual console design, they had to stagger the cup holders again to make it fit. This gear shifter is just a plain kind of old-fashioned like vinyl. And even though there is a little bit of a silver trim, it's not a shiny silver trim. And my biggest complaint in this whole area, moving to the steering wheel, is this is just like a plastic, I don't even know, there's no leather wrapping on the steering wheel. It reminds me of the old trucks that were built, small pickup trucks. This is just an old-timey kind of feel. And you'll see the difference when we move over. Okay, so now we move into the 23. Same kind of design on the door, but you'll notice around the actual door locks, there is that little bit of a higher glossed finish. Same kind of carbon-esque look around the door panel. Same bottle holder, but now we move to the seat. You have just a little bit of that tweed, and then you move to kind of more of that softer kind of feel on the outside of the bolsters of the seat. And I just think from the appearance, I didn't point out that this even in the headrest goes on the new design, and I just think that it looks a whole bunch better without that. Console design is obviously different, but you can notice that the handle finish is kind of that polished. It looks a little bit more elegant plastic with the silver all the way around. Yes, this section has changed for the better, but what I don't understand is the silver accents like I talked about on the wheel, the leather wrapped stitched steering wheel cover, and the silver that flows with the silver and the silver. I don't know why we dropped that. And I'm still not sure why, just because you put a infotainment system in, we had to move this whole entire console and then cheapen it up as well. So to me, I think they really missed the mark there. I do like the way that this silver trim actually is a setting point for all of the controls. This actually is now buried inside that in the new model instead of having to be hanging below. So they widened that. But then again, they didn't put the matching trim. So I like buttons instead of a big screen. I do think that this could have been a screen, and then we could have still had your air conditioning buttons below. I think this is a better place for your arm for this extension. That's why they did it in this model. And then I think the cup holders side by side and even having trim around it looks a little bit better to me. So I think there's good and bads in the combination. This big screen, this big bubble from the outside is not on the new one. I think that's also a welcome change into the 24. There you have it. 2023 Crosstrek compared to the all-new 2024. We have not received our first 2024 Wilderness Crosstrek. When we get that, there are some intricate things that come with that Wilderness package. And I think that might change my perception, at least, of the redesign, adding that package on. But we'll bring you that as soon as we get one. So comment down below, which one do you like better? Did I hit on things that you like in one, didn't like any other? Or are you just overly joyed with the redesign? Please hit the subscribe button, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.